This is a reaction video. As you can see, I'm Carolini and I am a libertarian. I'm a mom. I work full time and what else am I? I don't know. I'm reacting today to a Milton Friedman video where he talks about the four legitimate functions of government. In his opinion, who was Milton Friedman? You may be thinking, you may be asking yourself, or you may not be asking yourself that because you clicked on this video, and that means you probably know him. He was a very influential economist in the 20th century, and arguably one of the best ones ever. He is a Nobel Prize winner in economy. He was a fierce advocate for free markets, for individual freedom, and limited government. Let's see what he had to say about that.
I'm not an anarchist. I believe in a government, but a limited government. And the government should be limited, in my opinion, to very simple functions.
So I love this video because I too am not an anarchist, and I too believe in limited government. My story is kind of funny. If you've ever watched Parks and Recreation on the show, I was a Leslie Knope through and through until I started working for the federal government in Brazil, my home country. I became a Ron Swanson. It just broke my heart to see that the things don't work, not in my home country. But then I moved to Canada and I had other experiences in the public sector. And what that did to me was it restored my faith a little bit in the government. Canada has its own problems, but its institutions work, at least in comparison to my home country. But I still believe that government should be limited and government spending should be scrutinized.
Number one, to defending the country against foreign enemies. I have tried for a long time to see how to make national defense a private enterprise, and I have never succeeded. It's easy to see how to privatize schooling, but I don't know how to privatize national defense. So I'm reconciled to the fact that we're going to have to pay twice as much as we should have to pay in order to get an effective national defense, because anything government does, on the average, there's some things that are more, some less. On the average, anything government does costs twice as much as if it were being done by private enterprise. So, one function of government is to protect the country against foreign enemies, national affairs.
Yeah, that's a great point. If Milton Friedman tried very hard to make the military private, to study how that would go, and he didn't succeed, it's safe to say that maybe it's not possible. I don't know. It's very hard for me that I'm not an economist. I'm not well versed in these things, and it's very hard for me to see how that would work. So, good point.
The second function of government, and one which it performs very, very badly, is to protect the individual citizen against abuse and coercion by other citizens, to keep you from being hit over the head and mugged on the street, your house broken into, and so on. And I believe that the government performs that function very ineffectively because it's doing so many things it has no business doing. The third function of government.
So let's stop there. Policing. Yeah. As I said, I come from Brazil. God help me, but yes, the government in Brazil does a terrible job in protecting its citizens, like a terrible job. Awful. It's utterly outrageous. that's not just a third world problem. It's becoming very hard, especially in big cities, even in rich countries, to make citizens safe.
A very important function is to define the rules of the game we play. What's private property? If an airplane flies 10,000 feet over your house, is he violating your private property? If he flies 10 feet over your house, is he violating your private property? There's nothing natural about where the line should be drawn. So we have to have some mechanism for making the rules about that, and that is an appropriate government function. In fourth,
Legislation. Yeah, sure. That's fair. It can go bad. You can the problem with the government is it can very easily go bad. You can very easily overdo things. And overregulation is a freaking disgusting problem. And again, Brazil is overregulated. It sucks.
it's appropriate for government to provide a mechanism for adjudicating disputes about the meaning of those rules, a judicial system. Those are the four essential functions of government, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just a system. Sure. Like how are you gonna make that private? Um I'm sure there are anarcho-capitalists out there that believe that's possible. And I'm not educated enough to know that that's possible. So I tend to agree with Milton Friedman here. But again, I have to point out it can go bad. It can go very bad when your institutions are not solid, and when you have corruption and when you have organized crime. In Brazil, the justice system is completely broken. Orwellian, the situation. It's like we're locking up innocent people and releasing dangerous criminals, including our president. Our very own president uh, is a criminal. He was released from prison recently to run for office. But what would you expect, right? When your president is like the protagonist of, I believe, the biggest corruption scandal in the world, and he's president now. So, what can you expect?
And those are the only functions that are essential. There may be some other areas in which, if you started with nothing more than that, government might conceivably do more good than harm. But from where you are now, if you could only move back in that direction, it would be marvelous.
Yeah, when he says, and I do believe that there are a few other things that the government can do, and we can argue all day, like, what should the government do? What shouldn't the government do? What I love about the libertarian movement is that these discussions are possible. Whereas if I was a socialist or a leftist, um, it's a one size fits all thing because they're collectivists. So, you know, you have to be you have to agree with everything that they tell you to agree with. Otherwise, you'll be expelled from the club. That's not the case for libertarianism. There is space for discussion, and I love that. And I think more people should know about that, and that's why I'm here.
There's no way you're going to do it. Or the best you can hope for is that you can hold down government, keep it where it is, and let the private economy expand so that government becomes a smaller and smaller fraction of it. And even that is a very optimistic expectation, though it's possible.
I love this video. I love Milton Friedman. I love... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we did it. We did it. Thanks for watching. I guess we did it. New format. And that's pretty cool. Okay. I guess I will see you On the next one, wait, where do I stop this?